Hello, I'm Nathan Leahy, and welcome to Next Week in Gaming. So first up next week is a pretty awesome offer. Now, I have a secret love affair with Devolver Digital, and they're now on the Humble Bundle, which is awesome for everyone else, but not for me because I already own pretty much all the games that they've ever published ever, because they just publish the kind of games that I like, just ridiculous, incredibly entertaining, and they also send out some of the best PR emails as well. This bundle ends on Tuesday the 3rd of May, and it includes a couple of their early less known titles, and some of the cooler titles near the top tiers and in the middle tier as well. If we just take a quick look, the first tier includes games like A Fistful of Gun, Ronin, which is a fantastic little game, very similar to Gunpoint, and the developer took a lot of inspiration from Gunpoint. Gods Will Be Watching. And then the second tier includes Not a Hero, which is one of my all-time favorite games. Like, that game is just unapologetically excellent. It doesn't go too far, and it's got some great British humour as well. Also has Shadow Warrior Special Edition, which is an awesome game, a little bit different to their normal titles in that it's a little bit more fancy in the graphics department. Dropsy, the very sad, solemn little clown, 50% off the Talos Principle, which did it really quite well, and a bunch more games coming next week on Tuesday. And the final tier includes Titan Souls, which is kind of like a nice little blend up of Shadow of the Colossus, and a bit of Dark Soulsy stuff, shooting Yetis in the butt with an arrow, and it's got some really awesome game mechanics. We did a review of it way back. And of course, the infamous My Hatterful Boyfriend Holiday Star. So overall, just a sweet bundle, and if you've never played Devolver Digital games, go ahead, spend your $5 or whatever it is to get the middle tier, and just play some of them, because you will not be disappointed. First up on our release schedule is a game we're not 100% certain when it's coming out, but judging by its sort of position in the list of games that are releasing in 2016, I get the impression it's going to be soon. This is called Pavillion. It's by Vision Trick Media, and it's initially being released in one episode, and then there'll be a few more episodes as the year goes on. And this is kind of like it's a fourth-person game, so it's a person talking about himself to himself. In case you're confused about that, because it kind of got me a little bit curious as to how they managed to sort that one out. And this one is very similar visually to sort of Titan Souls and a little bit of Another World, if you've ever played that game. It's quite a reasonably popular, interesting title. And this one is kind of strange in that it's very much a game about learning, and the game doesn't give you much in the way of tooltips. It doesn't really tell you anything at all about the storyline, how to play the game, whatever. The whole purpose is that you're in this sort of otherworldly environment, and you've got to solve these puzzles without knowing what the puzzles are or how to interact with them, and you just sort of explore these really awesome handcrafted environments, and figure out a way or how you're supposed to interact with them, what the puzzle is, and how your interactions will solve that puzzle. So it's a little bit of a peculiar game. I think it looks pretty cool, very Devolver Digital-y, I guess, but you know, this is by someone else entirely. So it looks quite fascinating. I get the impression it could be quite the surprise when it releases eventually, but we don't know when it is. Just sometime in 2016, probably soon. Next up is a game releasing on Tuesday the 26th of April by Above and Beyond Technologies. This is coming into early access initially, probably staying on early access for quite some time. It's called Fragmented, not Defragmented, which we covered a while back, but this is a game that's kind of... I don't want to be too down about it, but it basically looks like Ark Survival Evolved, and if you read the write-up, it sounds like Ark Survival Evolved, except in a more modern sort of, in fact, more futuristic set, I guess. And I don't know whether you've played, there's sort of like I jumped into an early access version of Genome or Genesis or something like that, and it feels quite similar to that, and it's basically Ark in every sense. You start off with nothing but fists and clones or whatever, and you can go around punching rocks and trees in order to make stuff, and then out of that you can make more advanced things, and then you can get slightly more advanced to Ark, where in Ark you'll tame dinosaurs. In this you can tame the wildlife or whatever, but you can craft big robots and machineries and big buildings made of metal and futuristic stuff, and you know, you can make these assembly lines. So I guess it's kind of like Ark, but it's sort of adding its own little personal touches here and there, and kind of trying to make itself a little bit more different. But this does support PvE servers for people working together to survive. It's a survival game after all, and there's quite a few of those, which, you know, I didn't expect Ark to do as well as it did, considering Rust and DayZ stuff, you know, had been so successful, but it did okay, and you know, we have yet to see whether Fragmented can sort of either fall by the wayside and be sort of overshadowed by Ark, because it's got quite a big player base, or whether it will, you know, come up alongside it and offer a different experience altogether. But you know, who knows if it's a cash in, who knows whether it'll be successful. it looks like it has enough of a unique style to it to not be too Ark-like. But, you know, a lot of people like those survival type games, so I guess you're going to have to choose one or the other, because I doubt you'll have time to play both. Releasing on Thursday the 28th of April is a game called Back in 1995, and this is a game that pays a little bit of homage to the original sort of PS1, early PS2 titles, I guess, and it really, really reminded me of a game called Eternal Darkness. Now, if anyone's played that or some of the original Silent Hills game, this is like a big sort of homage towards those sorts of games. It's got the same extremely low polygon count, it's got the same CCTV camera angle functions and the way you move around, everything like that, and it's got that sort of horror mystery sort of trope to it, and the story follows like this guy and him finding out what happened to his daughter and what happened to this big empty city, except it pulls a lot of strings in the way that you kind of don't really know what anyone's motives are, including your own, or you know, it has a lot of mystery about it, and so you're trying to solve all of that and being mistrustful, and also just the fact that the way the camera angle works and the kind of game it is, it just gets a little bit creepy and a little bit weird. So this, I guess, would be interesting if people aren't sort of looking back at Silent Hill and stuff with rose-tinted glasses. It may not be as good as those games, or we may not think it is as good as those games were. But, you know, it's a pretty cool game, and I decided to add it to this purely because it looks like quite an interesting idea. I mean, it's by developers called Throw the Warp Code Out, a Japanese developer, I think, who is, you know, specifically trying to bring back the memories of those sorts of games, because I feel like we don't really get games like Eternal Darkness anymore, and they were really, really quite awesome, because we've just been sort of thrown in the AAA developer end with games like Soma. So it could be cool, or it could be a little bit not quite as fun. It reminds me of going back and playing the original Baldur's Gate. Like, the first time you play that, you're like, oh, this game is amazing, but then you go back 10 years later and you think, this isn't as fun as I thought it was. But who knows, it could go either way. So on to our release for next week. On Thursday the 28th of April, it will be Battle Souls, which is a game that is jumping into Steam's early access soon, I think, but I'm getting access to the pre-release beta, I believe, and this is a MOBA, and I know I've been trashing on MOBAs for a lot lately, but I figured I've been playing a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, got back into it. A couple of my friends who also don't like MOBAs jumped into Heroes of the Storm, and we had a bit of fun. And, you know, I like Smite, and this is quite similar to Smite, and I just feel like I should just go ahead and give them a chance after, you know, covering stuff like Overpower. And they do look interesting. Yeah, the graphics are a little bit sketchy on the edges, but for the most part, it would be nice just to see things that are slightly more interesting. It is, at the very least, not another one of these sort of Battleborn wannabe games, and it's just going for that MOBA thing 5-6 years too late. So yeah, we'll get our impressions of that next Thursday, and who knows, we might be pleasantly surprised. We can't judge it yet just because of the genre, although we probably could, and I probably will, but I'll try and be as objective as possible. So that's it from us at NextPowerUp. Join us next week on Thursday for our weekly review, and of course next week on Saturday for our next Week in Gaming episode. As usual, leave your comments in the section below for what you guys have been playing. I went 2 for 2 in the MTG FNM last night again, except this time it was Two-Headed Giant. We didn't do quite so well this time because our counter/aggro combo kind of got copied by everyone else, and so we actually had a bit of a run for our money. So maybe next time we're going to have to switch up our tactics a little bit, but hopefully going to be playing some Modern Masters draft, maybe, if all things go well. And next Friday is mono standard, I think, mono pauper standard, don't know which, not sure if I'll turn up to that one, but yeah, should be pretty good. Finally finished all of my decks pretty much, but I guess for the most part I'll be playing a hell of a lot of Battle Souls this weekend and in the coming week. Hopefully might get some chance to play some more Heroes of the Storm, because that was some good fun playing with my friends. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys next week.